Baptist School in Williston, Vermont, and today I will be performing Killer in the Dark by Raymond, Edmund, Alter. He didn't know about the little boy sitting on the stone wall because he was deaf, and his eyes were only acute up to about 15 feet. The boy sat on the stone, watching him with a sort of spellbound fascination, until he had the brilliant idea to take a slingshot out of his jeans. He loaded it with a rock, drew back, aiming, and let the elastic fly. Now, the stone would have missed by about 6 inches at any rate, but even before it struck the dirt, he knew about it, and he took off in zigzag alarm. Mr. Douglas! Mr. Douglas, come quick! I hit a rattler! About 10 minutes earlier, Peter Douglas had opened the door to find George Hudson at his house. Now both men were standing in the driveway chatting. I hit a rattler, Mr. Douglas. He came right up along those wood bushes and went in your window, went in your basement window. Now, hold on, Jimmy. All right, are you sure you hit a rattler? You sure? Not some garden snake? Oh, no, Mr. Douglas. It was a great big old rattler. I seen him. He went right along those road bushes in your basement. Are you sure he went in the basement window, Jimmy? Oh, sure, Mr. Douglas. Now, it was at this point that Mrs. Douglas, in her apron, appeared at the back door. Well, what on earth is all this then? It's all right, honey. Jimmy thinks he saw the snake go down in her basement. And before he could finish speaking, he saw the apprehension come into her face, and he knew it was not going to be good. Paige is down there. Paige and little Sarah went down there to play Monster. Monster was Paige and Sarah's favorite game. Those two girls would rather play Monster than eat. Here's how the game worked. One girl would be Monster, and the other girl would be Victim. Monster had to stay stationary, while Victim had to move about. And the game had to be played in the dark, of course, otherwise they couldn't scare each other into delicious hysterics. So, one would stay in one place, and the other would sneak about the basement. And when Victim got close to Monster, Monster would let out an awful noise, and it would scare poor Victim half to death. In turn, Victim's squeals of horror would then scare Monster. It was a very merry little game. She and little Sarah went down to play Monster. It's okay. I'll go down right now. I'll go get her. Oh, no, Pete. The light bulbs. You never changed the light bulbs. That's true. Flashlight. Go grab me a flashlight. Oh, yeah, a flashlight. I'll go grab a flashlight. Wait, no. Oh, Pete. Batteries. I forgot to buy batteries. Okay. Grab me a candle from the drawer there. Grab me a candle. Hey, Pete, I've got a gun, anyhow. It's 32. I can go grab it. I can't very well take a pistol down there, George. Not with two little girls alone in the dark. It was at that point that Peter realized George Hudson wasn't going with him. And there was no sense in embarrassing him by asking him to go. Just phone the sheriff for me, George. Mrs. Douglas came out with a lighted candle, handed it to Peter. And Peter started down the breakneck steps into the waiting black pit. Sarah? Paige? Where are you? He held the candle high, peering everywhere, passing old inner tubes, worn-out bikes, magazines, articles, newspapers, all the stuff that clutters up your basement. Sarah, Paige, where are you now? I'm gonna play Monster with you. You can't play Monster with, you can't play with a light. My goodness, Daddy. All right. I'll blow it out. But just Tell me where you are, girls. We're over here. He could at least tell where they were coming from, and that put them on the same end of the cellar. That was good. All right. Now I'm going to play monster with you. You girls don't move, though. Don't move a muscle. No, Daddy, that's not how you play. You're supposed to hide. We'll move over. No. I understand that. But let's play it this way, all right? It'll be more fun. Now, as he stepped through the basement, suddenly, the rattle went off like a telephone. He couldn't help himself. He was triggered as tight as a bear trap. He stepped backwards onto the prongs of a metal rake. The rake flinged up, snapped him right behind the right shoulder, and the candle flew from his hand. And in that moment, right as the candle winked out, he saw the rattlesnake uncoil completely, its flat head shooting at the candle, its fangs piercing out. And then, there was nothing. Not a sound, not a sight. What's the matter, Daddy? In his discombobulation, he sat on the floor. He leaned back on his haunches to try to find the candle when his hand came down on something soft and squishy. He threw himself back, smacking into the furnace. It wasn't him. It wasn't a rattlesnake. Garden hose. There's a piece of plastic garden hose. For a crazy moment, he thought he was going to giggle. Then he went to reach in his back pocket for matches. And then he realized, in all his anxiety, he forgot to grab them. He was now stuck in the dark basement with no way to see. He started clamoring to stand back up. As soon as the rattle started off again. Again, he threw himself to the side. He reached out to grab himself before he fell again, and his hand caught something. It's too late now. He can't let go. His hand jolted and wriggled and writhed. He felt the muscles of the snake ripple. It hasn't bit me, so I must have it right behind the head. But what am I to do with the filthy thing? Throw it away, he thought. Just throw it away. But he couldn't. He wouldn't. He couldn't see anything. He might unknowingly throw it into his daughter's face. He stammered around, and as he stood up, he felt something under his foot. Tools. He immediately dropped to his knees again. He felt around the floor, found a hammer. He held his right hand down, still jolting as if it was holding a live wire. He took the hammer and swung. The first swing hit him right in the knuckle. He held back a gag of scream. But he swung again, and again, and again. When he finally came up the stairs, he noticed that the entire neighborhood seemed to be there. George Hudson had called the sheriff, and the sheriff had brought an ambulance, and the ambulance had brought EMTs. I got him, at least. George Hudson stood there. I brought my gun, anyhow. Thanks, George.